What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to talk about why learning pickup and getting good at pickup is actually harder for guys who are good looking. Um, and or, yeah, I really can't comment on rich guys because I'm not rich, but like, I don't know, whatever, attraction is subjective. Um, but I think I'm good looking and hasn't really, I mean, I guess it's kind of helped my game a little bit because it makes it a little bit, like I get a warmer reception. But I would say, I don't know, overall it does make things a little bit harder. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. So as somebody who generally gets a lot of IOIs from women without really having to do anything, which is I guess what we consider attractive, I've noticed that I get a sense of validation from girls every time I get an IOI, even if I don't do anything, right? Even if I'm just like walking down the street and I see, let's say, a girl do a double take and look at me, or if she smiles, or if she like touches her hair, I get some sort of like traditional IOI. I get like a little bit of a hit of validation from them, okay? And that, I guess, is a pleasurable experience, but the problem with that is that when you get that little bit of validation for not doing anything, then it's almost like, well, why should I improve, right? What's the pressure on me to actually improve? Now, obviously, like that little bit of validation doesn't like automatically, they don't like jump on me and say like, hey, let's go have sex in your room right now. I'm available. It doesn't quite work like that. That'd be nice, but it doesn't. So the problem is that if I'm able to just literally leave my house and walk down the street where there are lots of women and get validation from them, it takes away some of your motivation to actually to get better, right? To do your approaches and to risk rejection. And I know I'm not the only one with this problem, right? I'm on fitness forums a lot on various places on the internet, and I see that this is like a very common problem with guys who are in very good shape. Okay, I'm pretty fit, like definitely more fit than most people I see walking down the street because I work out a lot. A lot of that comes from insecurity, right? In my head, I linked up a long time ago that that people would just be nicer to me if I was in better shape. And the better shape that I was in, the nicer more people would be to me without me having to do anything. So on the one hand, okay, fine, it made me passionate about fitness, let's say, and dedicated to like being healthy. Okay, great. But it wasn't really coming from the best place, right? I didn't have the best motivation for doing it. The motivation for doing it was coming from, an insecurity that I had around other people, and I used it to kind of cheat my way into being more secure around other people instead of doing what I think is the better solution or the more secure long-term solution, which is actually working on your social skills, which I did do later. I had a bunch of sales jobs and like I'm pretty comfortable talking to people now. But the point is that if you're like a good looking guy, or if you're just like a really fit guy, you are going to get a lot more IOIs from women without really having to do anything. Now I'm not saying it's like, oh my God, it's like if you're ugly or if you're not good looking, then you'll never be good at pickup. Of course not. It does kind of make starting, I don't know if it makes it harder. I don't have anything really to compare it to. But I can just say from my own experience that if you are like good looking, you do get that validation walking down the street, you go to a cafe, maybe go to a party, you meet some people, you're going to get a favorable response from people initially. And it might prevent you from like working that extra little bit to, nail down your routines, or to like read that extra body language book, or to just tighten your game up a little bit more, because you can really just skate by on your looks up to a certain point. I mean, I'm like very, I kind of hate to admit it, but let's just call it what it is. Like over the years, I've really just like gotten by on, I'm 6 feet tall. I've always been in pretty good shape. And yeah, like that counts for a lot. Now, what it doesn't count for, it won't get you supermodels, right? Because at the end of the day, looks will only take you so far. Unless you're like, whatever, like Jeremy Meeks. Okay, you're like the most good looking guy on the planet, fine. You can like date a billionaire, all right. But like for most people who don't have that status, also keep in mind, Jeremy Meeks had a lot of status because he was basically made famous for his mugshot. Okay, if he was just like random, like criminal walking down the street, he wouldn't be dating a billionaire. But because his picture went viral and he got that status, now he's like elevated as like he's a celebrity basically. So like, yeah, he's really good looking, but he's also a celebrity who's a celebrity for being really good looking. For most good looking people who aren't celebrities, who like don't make money from being good looking, you can't really do this. So you kind of have to work on your game. So yeah, just keep this in mind. And honestly, like, what's the solution, I guess, is to really just put in the time and do the work anyway. In my experience, which to be fair is not a lot, but in my experience, the best thing to do is to just like have specific, well, I mean, you can do two things, right? You can have really specific routines that you go in and you say verbatim to get you over the initial hump of like, I'm approaching and this is weird, I feel nervous. But what I've noticed, honestly, like maybe this is bad to say, but if I just go and approach a girl and just am very direct, like a lot of the times the sets will blow wide open. I'll just go and be like, hey, what's up? I just want to come talk to you. And a lot of times the girls are very responsive. Obviously not all the time. And I have noticed that if I am indirect, I do get like, I am kind of able to like sneak through that first impression, I guess. Like, oh, this guy's talking to me. He's not like hitting on me right away. I'll give him an extra 10 seconds. Like you buy yourself 10 seconds in the interaction, if that made sense. So yeah, honestly, like you can just go out and try talking to people. I mean, it sounds like really basic, but that's really all it comes down to, is just go out and, talk to people and see kind of what their initial reaction is. And then I would say the more positive reactions you get, or the more negative reactions you get, you can kind of scale up your canned material, let's call it. Yeah, which eventually you should be using that anyway, because it'll allow you to kind of game harder sets, is what I think, right? If you go up to like a group of like 6 people, for example, I don't care how good looking you are, if you go up to a group of 6 people and you pick your target and you say, hey, what's up? I know you're with people right now. I just want to come over and introduce myself because I think you're cute. It's like automatically you're going to get a little bit of pushback from the group, I would think. Not like I've really ever done that, but I would think that would happen, right? It sounds plausible, where they're like, well, who are you? Like, we don't know who you are. Maybe the guys would like give you props for saying that, but like you put the other person on the spot where they have to respond to you and have to decide right away, like, do I like this person or not? Will I look slutty if I respond favorably? Do I care? I probably care about what my friends think. So the indirect style is like, I feel like there's a higher skill cap for that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Which, to bring it back, applies to guys who are very good looking and who are also not good looking, right? So anyway, I hope that made sense. This is not a video to like ask for pity or anything like that. It is what it is. Just to kind of like address this in case there are other guys, and I'm sure there are, who are kind of torn because they get maybe good responses from women, they get validation from women without really having to do anything. And that like tiny little bit of validation is feeding their ego enough so that they don't feel that they really need to like work on their game. And that feeling of not needing to is really hurting them in the end, because they want to they want to get the hotter girls, they want to work on their social skills, but meanwhile they can just like leave their house and get, have 10 girls walk by, 10 out of 100 or whatever, 200, and have them get IOIs and like feel good about how good looking they are. Okay, hope that made sense. Tell me in a comment, are you possibly a good looking guy who's experienced this? Are you like, I don't know, not a good looking guy and you think I'm just like complaining like a little bitch about this and to suck it up and just be a man and fucking get out there and do my approaches? Let me know, leave me a comment. Peace.